Guys, and welcome to Tim's Sports Talk. We have Thursday Night Football. The Denver Broncos take on the New York Jets, and at least it was a close game because there was no real excitement coming into this game. No big names that you really cared about seeing. Nobody really interesting. It was two 0-3 teams. Denver actually had some promise. They were my sleeper team coming into this year, but they've just been absolutely decimated by injuries similar to San Francisco, and so they are not looking good. But they end up winning this game, though, 37-28. The Jets are terrible. They had 8 penalties for 83 yards in the first half. That's incredible. And then they had one meaningful penalty in the second half, and it was a killer. They were up by 1. They had Broncos on the ropes. They just got 2 interceptions in a row, one for a touchdown, and they got a field goal on the other. They have a 3rd and 5, and they come in, they completely blow up the offensive line, and the Quinnen Williams grabs the face masks, lets the drive continue, and they end up coming back and scoring a field goal on that play, and then it was pretty much all Denver from then on out. You had a final run for 43 yards by Melvin Gordon, which I was happy about. I got him on my fantasy team. That was garbage time 101. Very nice. But Rypien gets his first NFL start. Undrafted rookie coming in with Drew Lock being banged up. You have Jeff Driscoll not doing much, so they're like, whatever, let's give the rookie a shot. And he came out firing, actually. He went 9 for 11 in the first half for, what was it? I have it here. 9 for 11, 141 yards and a touchdown. He did have an interception. It was kind of a weird interception. He was trying to throw it out of bounds, and he ends up not getting it far enough out of bounds, and Desir actually gets the pick, keeping his toes in. And it was an amazing interception because I didn't even think he had any shot, but his toes just grazed the ground as he went out. He looked like he was Odell Beckham or Antonio Brown catching a out-of-bounds throw. So you also had, in the first half, you had a 48-yard run by Sam Darnold making moves. He first avoids a sack. Then he does a stutter step to the left, jab, makes the guy miss, makes the number 22, the safety. I don't know what he was doing. He just runs away from him almost. And then Sam Darnold comes all the way in and scores a 48-yard touchdown. It looks amazing. But outside of that, unfortunately, Darnold did not do much else. He did have 84 yards on the ground with that 46-yarder, but 23 for 42, 230 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He also took 6 sacks for 54 yards. Very, very unfortunate for Sam Darnold because he just has no help. Jamison Crowder had a good day, though. He had 7 catches, 104 yards. But outside of Jamison Crowder, this team is not in good shape. Le'Veon Bell is obviously hurt. So they have Frank Gore, forever old Frank Gore, 13 carries, 30 yards. He just needs to retire. Okay, you're 107 years old. Okay, I know you love your job. I know you love some football, but let's move on. Let some younger guys in there and see what happens because he has 2 point something garbage yards per carry. Not good. So Frank, it's time to hang it up. I hope this is his last season, to be honest. He was a beast back in the day, but now let's move on. But Melvin Gordon, I already talked about him a little bit with that long, but he had 23 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the Jets' run defense was not that bad. His 43-yard touchdown run at the end was bottled up in the middle, and he ends up bouncing it outside and getting outside. But overall, the Jets' run defense is decent. They're actually pretty top run defense coming into the game. So they continued with that pattern. Tim Patrick, man, 6 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. It was a beautiful touchdown. The ball actually got tipped right before, barely tipped. And I know, I've played tight end and fullback. I know how hard those can be to catch. And to have the concentration to bring that in. Really, really good stuff coming out of Tim Patrick. Jerry Jeudy showed up big. It was in the first half, but he had a 48-yard touchdown that kind of was lucky because it went right through the defender's hands, but still, somehow he came down with that ball. You had a deep throw to the right. It was kind of underthrown, so Jeudy had to kind of go over the defender, but the defender should have easily just swatted it away, but he tries to catch it, and it goes right in between his hands, hits the helmet, and Jeudy just takes the ball off of his helmet and scores a touchdown. So very cool for Jeudy. Unfortunately, there was more injuries this game. Noah Fant, who I really, really like, went out, and we'll see what the extent is from his injury. Before he got hurt in the first half, he had 5 catches, 35 yards on 6 targets. Really, really good tight end, first rounder from two drafts ago. So, the Broncos are just getting absolutely decimated. Hopefully Melvin Gordon stays healthy. As I said, I have him in one of my leagues. So, let's see here. Team stats. Jets were 8 for 19 on third down, but at one point they were like 8 or 7 for 13. So they finished the game 1-6, which is unfortunate because they were converting on a lot of their third downs. Broncos were 6 for 12 on the day. They had a couple of big plays, so they didn't have as many third downs. Similar yardage for the game, 359 yards for the Broncos, 321 yards for the Jets. And if it wasn't for that 48-yard touchdown at the end for Melvin Gordon, Jets would have had even more offense. And another big thing is the Broncos had 3 interceptions, or like 3 turnovers, and the Jets had none. Broncos did win the time of possession game, 31 minutes and 40 seconds to 28-20, so it was pretty close. But the Jets, this was their game to win, in my opinion. The Jets are in absolute disarray. You have a beat-to-heck Broncos team. You're taking them down to the wire. You have Brett Rypien, actually nephew of Mark Rypien, my favorite team's old quarterback from the 91-92 Super Bowl. But he was looking good, but he started throwing picks. You had him on the ropes. You needed to pull out this win. You didn't. So I don't know when the Jets are going to win a game. I really have no idea because the Dolphins are not a great team. They still have a lot of holes to fill, but they're a well-coached team. So I don't see them beating the Dolphins at all. They're definitely not beating Buffalo. They're not beating the Patriots. So I don't know where their win comes on the schedule, and we may be looking at a 0-16 team. I always say that one year about some team, and they pull out some weird win somewhere. But I don't think that's going to happen unless they fire Gase, and I don't know if they're going to fire Gase. Maybe once they fire Gase, the players come around, and whoever the new coach is, and say, thank you, Lord, we finally got rid of Adam Gase, and we can now finally play, and they come out and they just beat the heck out of whoever they play the next week. That I would be rooting for that. What's up, sports fan all day? I agree. So he says, I was rooting for Brett Rypien because Mark Rypien played for us, and I really wanted him to do good. I'm right there with you. It was cool to see. I had no clue that he had got picked up this year. I wish the Redskins would have picked him up. We needed a backup QB. That would have been interesting. And he didn't look too bad. He had a couple of really bad interceptions. The final 2 interceptions in the second half were absolute garbage. He just threw them right to the defenders, and there was nobody even close to open. It was, one of them was literally triple covered. You couldn't, from the quarterback's eyes, you could not see the receiver, but you saw 3 defenders right in front of him, and he threw the ball anyway. Yeah, really bad look. And the second one was off his back foot. He kind of pump fakes it to the flat, and then he doesn't like that, so he's like, all right, I'll throw it to him, and he throws it off his back foot with pressure and doesn't nearly have the arm to get it there. So Sam Darnold did go down with an injury. It looked like he potentially had broke his collarbone, but he came back in and finished the game. We had a wild Flacco appearance, 2 for 2 for 16 yards from Joe Flacco. But thank God we didn't have to watch him for long. Yeah, he did make a couple of bad decisions, but he played really good for his first ever start, and I really think he can do good as he goes on. That's that's fair. I mean, he's an interesting guy. I kind of like how he led on the field and everything. I don't know if he necessarily has the arm strength at this level, but anything's possible. I do agree that overall, for his first start ever, I think he had a lot of good qualities for this day, but he clearly has some stuff to pick up or work on because those picks were awful. But similar to Haskins, right? I mean, Haskins threw 3 terrible picks his first game against the Giants. He kind of got thrown to the wolves, and those were horrible picks. So I don't know. Can't judge somebody off their first ever start. Let's see. The Jets' defensive line played a decent game, but they got 0 sacks on the day. Brett Rypien was able to get rid of the ball. He did have a intentional grounding, which counted as a sack, which was definitely an intentional grounding. They definitely should have called that, and they did. And he tried to argue it so hard. I don't know why. There was nothing. He said he was outside the pocket. He may have moved 2 steps to the left, nowhere near to outside of the pocket. But in the 1 sack they should have had, they ended up getting a face mask call, and that ruined it. I think those interceptions were because he was nervous, but if I was him, I would have been nervous too, because the Jets kept on roughing the quarterback. They did hit him a lot. That was their final penalty, actually, was on 3rd and 18. Brett Rypien tried to throw it downfield, and 3 of them all hit him at once. They were not happy that the young rookie was beating him. But, nerves, I don't know, is that really what... maybe he was getting roughed up, like you said. I don't know if nerves was going to be the thing anymore, because he already played well. The nerves should have been kind of flowed out of him at that point. Like, I already went 9 for 11 in the first half, thrown a touchdown already. I think he actually had already thrown a second touchdown at that point. So you'd think the nerves would have kind of calmed down at that point and just played football. But I do imagine that him being roughed up a lot definitely caused some of those interceptions, because both of them had pressure in his face as he threw them. Desir, the cornerback for the Jets, had an up and down game today. He started down and up, because he started the game with Jeudy absolutely mossing him. I've already explained it a little bit, but the one that went through his hands and ends up Jeudy picks it off. Well, that same guy was the one with 2 interceptions today and an interception with a touchdown. So good for Desir to bounce back after that horrible play in the first quarter, to then bounce back and have actually, all things considered, a really good game, especially for a corner. I mean, 2 interceptions and a touchdown. You can't ask for more than that from your starting corner. A lot of field goals in this game, and you had both quarterbacks at one point. Sam Darnold took a sack, and Brett Rypien took a illegal throwing away. Why can't I think of the proper name? I just said it a minute ago. Good grief. Intentional grounding. There it is. Intentional grounding call, and both of those almost knocked him out of the field goal range, but both kickers saved him. They ended up making them way harder than they needed to be. But the kickers, I believe, were perfect on the day, and they had some long field goals. Yeah, McManus was 3 for 3, and Ficken was 5 for 5. So both longs of 54, and both of them came after their quarterbacks screwed them over a little bit. And both perfect on the PATs. McManus had 4 for 4. Ficken had 1 for 1, so good day for the kickers, and it was raining at one point, so very good. Sportsman all day. I'm excited to see how he plays versus New England. I hope he can pull off his second win. That's not happening. This Broncos team is not beating the Patriots. They are way too beat up to even come close to the Patriots. They are not beating the Patriots, but I appreciate you know what? I will be right there rooting for him. I don't see why not. I don't really care for the Patriots. So, yeah, I'll root for the Brett to win his second win. But yeah, that's wishful thinking to say the least. Let's see. Do I have anything interesting? Man, the big man, Fedorowski, one of the Jets' defensive linemen, he had an easy interception, tipped interception, lands right into his hands and goes right through him. Easy interception for the big man, and he cannot pull it out. But luckily for him, 2 plays later, they got that pick 6 for Desir. So it ended up not hurting him, but I'm sure the big man is going to have trouble falling asleep tonight, knowing he could have had an interception where it was right into his hands, changing the game. And maybe he can get some solace thinking, well, hey, maybe we would have scored a touchdown if I intercepted it. So that's why I let Desir intercept it, and we scored a touchdown. But nonetheless, the Jets just stink. They just are so bad. I do not like Adam Gase. I hope that he gets fired soon. There was rumors that he may get fired after this game, and then they came back and said, oh no, he's not going to get fired after this game. But I have no clue what's actually going to happen, but I know what should happen, and he should be gone. He should have been gone. He should not be the head coach in anybody's team, especially not right now. And as the Jets need somebody that actually can build a team, and Gase is definitely not the guy. Sam Darnold, 6 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Frank Gore, 13 carries for 30 yards. Absolutely ridiculous. Bradley Chubb had a good day. 2.5 sacks and 2 tackles for loss. You saw him a lot, especially in the second half. He was doing big damage against this team. Did you see Vic Fangio getting mad at Adam Gase at the end of the game because all of the roughing the passer penalties? I did not, but Vic Fangio, I mean, everybody should be mad that he is the head coach of the Jets. So if you're not mad at him being the head coach of the Jets, where are you at? I have a Jets fan actually in one of my fantasy football leagues that absolutely hates his owner. I don't even know who his owner is, and Adam Gase. They're both like, they're terrible. And I wish that they're similar to us where we hate Dan Snyder, but Dan Snyder may have found a gym here in Ron Rivera. Who knows? We will see. All right. Well, that is my recap for the Thursday night game. Denver 37, Jets 28, and I will be live after the Skins-Ravens game. I have my buddy Daryl coming with me. He's going to be at my house watching the game. He's a big Ravens fan, so he wants to be here when our team gets our butt kicked, which is most likely going to happen. But I will go live after that, and then I will go live after the Sunday night game, which is supposed to be a good game, I'm pretty sure, because we go from this game to a fun game, I believe. I'm going to look at it real quick just to confirm. I'm pretty sure. NFL scores. It is, nope. It's the Eagles versus Niners. The Eagles are terrible and the 49ers are beat to hell. And then you have the Falcons versus Packers. That could be a fun game. A lot of scoring in that game. Maybe the Falcons can upset them. They have the offense to upset anybody. But yeah, Eagles versus 49ers I just saw. So anyway, all right guys, till next time. See ya.